Hello and welcome. Today we've got Michael Jaco, former CIA and Navy SEAL. And today we're going to be discussing Palestine and the Zionists, who are the fake Jews, of course, who are trying to enslave us, and also Trump going to jail and what's really going on around there. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to my Instagram channel at nicholas.veniamin, where you can follow all my daily news reels. Michael, thank you so much for joining me. How are you and what have you been up to?
Great, Nicholas. Just enjoying the great weather we're having here in Florida. I got some events that I'm going to this next weekend, but just enjoying life and watching the show, as it
Absolutely.
goes by, and trying to catch up and stay ahead of it.
It's a very crazy show. I mean, if Trump was to say that he's just quitting and he's going to enjoy his billionaire lifestyle that he had before he even became president, um, I'm sure that they would stop all the indictments, all the attacks. But obviously they're going for him. He's threatening them with declass, with the Epstein and 9/11 and JFK assassination. They're very, very scared of him, and he's not afraid to go to jail. What do you think will really happen with that? What do you see? What do you forecast?
Yeah, I think they're. I think he's moving towards that. I think they'll put him in jail. That'll be like, one of those things. So he's got the Supreme Court. He's asked the Supreme Court to look at the situation. I don't think the Supreme Court will agree with the results of the last, court case in New York. But, I think all this is like we're going to talk about in a few minutes is it's all a Zionist movement. We have to look at who the real enemy is, and around the world, and it seems like the Zionists pretty much have been orchestrating a lot of this stuff. So the people that are in positions of power right now in the U.S. Government, and a lot of these, especially New York, very very Zionist area, has come against the people that we want to be in power, to support our Constitution, support most of us that want to have freedoms and so forth. Some people are willing to sacrifice their freedoms, as we're seeing, but Trump might be that guy that shows everybody this is how far it will go. You will be put in jail. Trump has said for a long time, I'm in between you and them. Well, it looks like he might not be in between us and them pretty soon. So that's going to be a real revelation for humanity and for America.
So do you believe they actually have the power to put him in prison?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they have 34 counts, each one a felony count. It's amazing that he wasn't put into prison from that point. But he's basically given them hundreds of millions of dollars to stay out of prison at this point. So, what's another couple hundred million to, stay out of prison? We saw one of the biggest, outflows of money to the Trump campaign. I think over $200 million was donated over the last 48 hours to Trump. So he still has an unbelievable support in America, and probably more people are moving in that direction. But there's still people, I think, on the sidelines that don't really understand, the bigger picture of what's actually going on here in America. It's a complete collapse of our system and a system of governance around the world. So we've been squeezed for quite some time. I think it comes to a head, and we basically, at some point, will rise up and push back. I don't know how much pain, the world has to go through before that happens. And we've seen this in several occasions in the past, World War I and World War II. We're seeing the build up to World War III right now in Ukraine and in Israel. So will this, spill into the rest of the world? Will America get involved like we did in World War I and World War II, which during that time frame were pretty much, civil wars within Europe, but they pulled us in. So that was another Zionist movement to start those wars and actually take down Russia and make it the Soviet Union, which was a Zionist-controlled country, until the people finally rose up and threw them off. So is that going to be a capture situation that we're going to see for the rest of the world with these Zionists basically coming in? Here in America, most of our politicians have dual citizenship with Israel. That is insane to me. How is it that you can have a citizenship with another country? Wouldn't that make you kind of, moving in the direction of helping that country in case they needed help, which is what we're seeing right now? So the Zionists in Israel are, pretty much around the world. So let's go back to World War One. World War One started with the assassination of the Archduke and his wife, and I think it was Bosnia Herzegovina area, and it was an Austrian that did it, and then Germany got involved, and some other countries got involved, and then Europe, blew up into another regional war. Now that war was pretty much over in 20 or 1917. The pretty much all the other groups, France, Britain, and so forth, had basically been, whittled down to the point where Germany was about to win, and they were getting ready to sue for peace. Where at that point there were Zionists in Germany that contacted Britain and told them that if they got America involved, that America would come and help them and get them to save them from being defeated. So that's where the Balfour Agreement came in, and everyone can look all this information up. It's not I'm not making this up. Balfour Agreement basically was a declaration that was called for safeguarding the civil and religious rights for the Palestinian Arabs, but it was basically calling for the Jewish population to actually go into Palestine. Palestine was mostly 90% Arabs, and then the Britons and the French basically decided that they were going to divide that and have the Jewish race come in and start to occupy that area. So Woodrow Wilson, who was also a Zionist and agreed with that program, decided to get into the war, and then the Americans came in. The Germans were defeated, and they sued for peace. And the Treaty of Versailles basically was very, very restrictive and harsh on the German people. The actual German army did not want to do it. They were actually still felt that they could win, but I guess the leader of Germany abdicated, and basically they surrendered. So then there was all this pressure on Germany for many, many years. During that time frame, the Germans actually allowed the Zionists in Germany to go to Israel, and they started to settle in Israel. So all the way up until 1940, the Zionists of Germany went to that country. Now, during the time frame where before World War II started, Hitler came into power, and I'm not saying that Nazis were great. I don't think the Nazis were great. I've said the Nazis were bad for most of my life, and I think most of us think that. But when you look at the German people and what happened during that time frame, they were basically, the rest of the world was in a deep depression, and Germany excelled. And how do they excel? They kicked out the Zionists that were running the banks and so forth, and the music industry and the movie theaters and so forth. They kicked them all out. It's kind of the same thing we're seeing right now in America with corruption and wickedness and so forth that's going on, and probably in England and France as well. So it was basically the Zionists who basically took all that over. So they started kicking them out. Now, eventually, the Germans got into a conflict with Poland, because Poland had annexed a portion of Germany after World War I, and it separated Germany from I think it was East Prussia or something. And so in that little area, the Polish were very harsh against the German people that still lived there. And there was actually, which is not too many people, there was a massacre against the German people that lived in that area, a Holocaust actually, where 5,500 people, Germans, were killed in that area. And so the German army came in, and that's the Blitzkrieg that we hear about. Now, in the meantime, the communists, the Soviets, came into the other half of Poland and took over that an area of Poland, and also some other countries. But because Joseph Stalin was seen as a good guy, he was a Zionist as well. There was no repercussions for him. It was all against Germany. So then Germany basically pushed the French and the British all the way to and we had the Dunkirk incident because they all came against Germany. So Germany pretty much kicked butt again with no help from America, and then America got in the war again, and then we saw what happened. So we're seeing this continual thing with the Zionist. The Zionists, I think, are the problem. The Zionists, not all Jews, of course. There's many Jewish people that I are very good friends of mine. We speak pretty much every day. And they also say that is the Zionists that are the problem. And that's where we need to be focused. I don't think we need to be focused on anything else but the Zionists and how the Zionists have basically infiltrated into our financial institutions. Today, in fact, we had a very suspect thing happen here in America where we had a flash crash in Berkshire Hathaway. It went down to almost zero. Same thing in one of the gold stocks. I think it was, I can't remember the name of it. So anyway, it went down to from 42 to 25 cents. Now the stock market right now is very unsettled, and it is starting, I wouldn't say crashing, but it is going down quite significantly. So we're going to see more of this manipulation. All right. We saw the manipulation from the different drug companies with the shot and the bioweaponry and so forth. This is coming from the Zionists. So we really need to start to focus on Zionist and the Zionism. So we're seeing the results of these people in Israel. Now, the Jewish people in Israel, because I know a lot of people in Israel, and I've known a lot of military guys that I work with over the years that are in Israel. They are not part of the Zionist group. Mm-hmm. So the Zionist group is basically doing another Holocaust in Palestine. So we're seeing the same thing happen again with the Zionists. We saw the same thing happening in Ukraine, where Zionists of Ukraine were basically killing a large area of people that didn't want to align with them, that wanted to stay with Russia. And now we're having these wars that are starting to kick off again. So World War III is at our doorstep again. The Zionists are pushing us. So how can we overcome this? Well, we're doing that, with this independent media that we've helped create, we're part of. We can work around their manipulation. So pretty much the same thing as has happened for a very long time. The Zionists control the media, and they control the music industry. Now we're seeing some repercussions right now. We're seeing like people like P. Diddy and so forth are basically controlled by the Zionists that are being exposed. So I think I'm not thinking that the Zionists are going to win this time. The Zionists seem to be having a lot of hard times coming at them, but we need to focus where that is. Now, not the Jewish population, the Zionists. Now, the unfortunate part of this is when people discover that there is this Zionist group, which I believe are almost like Luciferians, they're not Jewish at all. When people discover that, they take it out on the entire Jewish race, which is something that we need to understand right now. It's not something that we need to do again, because this has happened over and over again. It happened in Germany, where the people basically were so fed up and so incensed by the Zionist control of their country that they struck out against all Jews. So let's look at this. Let's do this and take these guys down systematically and discover who they are. We go back in time, we're going to start to see who all these Zionists are. So even Roosevelt here in the United States in World War II, and Churchill, Zionist, and Stalin, all Zionist. So when we start to discover this, we start to work our way down and find out who else are the Zionists, who else is pushing this, who else is part of this larger program. And we need to start to make sure that they're not in those positions of power anymore. However that manufactures itself is up to us, we the people, whether it's through some kind of judicial action or something a little bit stronger. So we have to look at, that in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in this First World War, there were, the Zionists, who are fake Jews because they are Luciferian, like you said. They were, they like war because they make so much money, and their purpose for them, I think, was to have every country under their belt to, to take on the dollar, so that they could sell them dollars, so that we could be enslaved by the Federal Reserve. But now we're seeing lots of countries, we're seeing the opposite happen. We're seeing countries wanting to go gold backed. And we're not seeing what we saw 15, 20 years ago, where they would go after that leader like they did with, Saddam Hussein and many others, and kill them and assassinate them, because they will make up a reason because they didn't take the dollar. So we're seeing a lot of countries go gold backed. So would you say that they're definitely, it looks like they're losing a lot of power, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. The Rothschilds, the different families that are out there, Rockefellers and so forth. All of these families, are part of the Zionist groups. And if you look at the heads of the Federal Reserve, all of them are Jewish Zionists, right? Again, I don't want to make people think that if they have a Jewish name, they're Zionists and they're evil. No, but we need to look at people that are in positions of power that are making very, very suspect decisions, and see what their relationship is to this larger Zionist movement to make Israel the center of the world. That's definitely not something that we want to do in the future. So I'm looking at this one letter that was written to um, Woodrow Wilson. It says, neither in this country nor in Paris, and this is from a person from England speaking to him, says that nor in Paris has there been any opposition to the Zionist program. So there's no opposition. They have no opposition in the upper realms of, military and CIA, MI6, you name it, organization that basically has a lot of people at the top that are basically Zionist. So it is something that has infiltrated throughout the world. And it says the Balfour Declaration, which you made possible. So Woodrow Wilson obviously made that possible. How? By getting U.S. troops involved in World War I and destroying the Germans, right? So, and then making the Germans slave to the French and whoever else. So that is not something I think we want going forward. We need to find out who the people are and what their agenda is. What their agenda is. Are they Zionist? So I think we're going to find that the Zionists, unfortunately, have infiltrated quite a bit. Now, I always thought that they were just fascist, but it is definitely something much larger than that, and more pervasive and more identifiable now. Anyone could be a fascist. I mean, you believe in a certain form of government, and on and on and on, but it doesn't mean that you're a Nazi, because that was a nationalist socialist party that was against the Communist Party. Hitler actually went after the Soviets because he saw them as a threat to Europe, all of Europe. So I'm not saying that Hitler was a great guy and we should, celebrate him. Absolutely not. But what I'm saying is the Zionists have created some very dark characters because of their actions that have to strike back at them. So Hitler was, I think, basically he was something that they made available, processed, because of what they did to Germany and the rest of the world. So he basically created something to stop them, and he wasn't successful. Now we need to be more successful, but in a different way. I don't think that going into a worldwide world against each other again is going to solve the problem. To solve the problem, we need to stop the people that are creating these wars. In World War II, the American people did not want to enter that war.
Mhm.
But Roosevelt basically pushed us into that war because he was a Zionist. And so we have to understand who these people are and what their agenda is. We have to identify them and stop them from, pushing these agendas.
So who do you think they are? What do you think people will be so shocked about once they find out who they are and what their agenda is?
Well, the agenda is, as we've been seeing, is obviously world control and complete domination of the human race to whatever they want it to be, whatever that agenda is. Uh, Obviously, that agenda is servitude to them and complete forfeiture of all lands, all you basically want, like they said in World Economic Forum, you will own nothing and you will like it. So that is their intention to push that on us. So these are the Zionists. The Zionists are pushing this agenda, and like I said, we need to identify who these people are and stop their process of basically dominating and controlling us. They're pushing us into another world war. It is moving in that direction. There was nothing that we in America could do because there were laws that were being passed, and then there were actions that were pushed, like the bombing of Pearl Harbor. That was, basically sticking the finger in the eye of Japan over and over again until they got pissed off and they struck back. So that's what these guys do, and that's what they're doing right now to Russia. They're poking Russia. They're poking the bear over and over again until the bear is going to strike back a little bit more aggressively than we are. And they're going to say, we'll see. We're so innocent. We haven't done anything. And look at the Russian bear. We've said it for a long time now through our, Zionist media that they're bad. And now look at what they're doing, not revealing that they have been provoked and pushed into this confrontation. More and more aggression is coming at. The latest is the U.S. when Donald Trump it was announced that Donald Trump on 34 counts was convicted. On that day, the U.S. said it was okay for the Ukrainians to shoot missiles into Russia with U.S. made weaponry. So we're seeing this is definitely moving into another direction
Mm.
and a more aggressive, confrontation, just like it was in World War II, just like it was in World War One, and just like it's going to be, unfortunately, I believe, in World War III.
And they're using Trump's case as also a distraction if they're saying things like that. So they want to go to war and do World War III. When will they stop until they get what exactly?
Until they get complete world domination. Uh, Wars will stop in one way. Well, there's probably several different ways. Uh, well, if you look at Einstein said he said that after a nuclear, we go to a nuclear war, the next war will be with clubs. I think they pushed us into this before and many, many thousands of years before. If you look at ancient history, it looks like there's been nuclear attacks, melted buildings like we see with directed energy weapons and all kind of crazy stuff. So this is not something new. There's high tech abilities that these guys have. We're seeing it right now, uh, but I think we're at a point where there's enough of us that have gotten enough high tech capabilities that we can stop them out, and that's what they're seeing.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen? Are we being bamboozled into thinking that there's this group that has the capability of stopping them out? And we've been hearing that they're going to stop them out for years now, but nothing has happened. How far do we have to go before this happens? I think it has to be we the people have to become more aggressive. Now we're going to get pushback just like we did in January 6th, where there's you have to be very careful how we advertise how we're going to stand up and push back.
Yeah.
They will show up with guns and our batons and kill a bunch of us and say it was all our fault.
Yeah.
So it is something that happened January 6th. So uh, how do we push back? We have to do something more creative. So they're not as creative as we are. So they have
Yeah.
long-term plans which they're implementing, and they don't know how to like move on a dime like we can. So we have to look at what they're doing, what they're pushing. Obviously, they're pushing World War III. So we have to like stop that out. We have to like get together and inform each other and get the leadership that's going to prevent that. I mean, in England, you have your prime minister, I believe, is saying that he's going to like, have a draft. I don't think he's going to be elected, but does that mean there's not going to be a draft? Maybe he's saying that to, start to feed the consciousness. And then everybody's like, get out of here. You're not going to do that. And they elect somebody else in, which is like, oh, we're not going to do all that. And then they get in, and then this war goes to another level. Like, well, we got to do it now. So we have to be very, very vigilant with who gets in there and who's making decisions. It's. I say we just like do away with all of them and just
Yeah.
start all over. But unfortunately, we don't have enough people that have that kind of that mentality. So there's again, more pain. And once the pain comes, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. It's like we're not going to put up with pain, and then they just turn off. So that's very unfortunate, because we need people to be involved in this. And if people get to the point where they just start to turn off, then that potential consciousness, that potential creativity that someone could bring to the table to help us overcome this challenge is gone.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think, and a lot of us have been saying, you have to get more involved, and people are getting frustrated and dropping off, and that makes the situation even harder for the rest of us to keep this thing moving.
No, absolutely. I always think that we have to be positive. We have to believe that we're going to win,
Yes.
and be active, and share videos, or make videos yourself, share them with friends and family, have these conversations with friends and family. Forget those people that say, oh, it's too controversial. We need to be controversial. And,
Mhm.
and we have to believe that we're going to win, and be positive and be active. Absolutely. But Michael Jaco, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute honor, like always. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Yeah, there's one, I heard this movie long ago, and I was like, it was just, I guess my consciousness wasn't raised enough to like believe in it. There's a movie called Adolf Hitler: The Greatest Story Never Told by Dennis Wise. It's on BitChute. That's the only place I could find it. Everywhere else, it's gone and suppressed, and you can't get it. So hopefully it stays on BitChute. But I recommend everyone go to BitChute and watch that. I'm watching that right now. It's really opened my mind to a lot of things, and I think it'll help a lot of people understand what we're talking about here. So uh, you're right. Nicholas, we have to stay positive. If you're not positive, then you're going to attract that thing that you most think about. So stay positive, stay in the love vibration, and we'll win this thing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. And we'll speak again very soon. Take care, and God bless you. Bye bye.
God bless you. Thank you.